network of major electrical conductors that link individual utility companies together, well, I'm going to say that's true. Well, if I go to my review, I see, well, yeah, I was right. That is true. So you can go through here, check all your answers, make sure you get them right, make sure you understand the questions, and not just that you can write down this correct answer in your workbook if you've printed it out, or in your notebook, or in your notes, or wherever you've decided to write things down. It's important you understand these, because the next step we're going to do is taking the quiz. And a lot of these questions are going to be drawn from the workbook, from the video, same place a lot of these questions are drawn from that we've just answered out of the workbook as well. So once you're satisfied, you understand everything in that workbook, and you feel like you're ready to take the quiz, well, that's our next step. We can scroll down and we can hit that next button. Now that you've gone through this module, it's time to take the quiz. Before we take the quiz, though, there's a couple things we want to talk about. Each quiz is going to have a due date. Now, this is going to be a pretty hard due date. Unless there's something really serious going on and you've already talked with your instructor, you're not going to be able to submit one of these quizzes or even take these quizzes after these due dates. Each quiz is going to be worth 20 points. Each quiz is going to have 20 questions. That can be pretty standard with all our apprenticeship classes. And you're going to have this availability date. Now, along with the module is going to be unlocked or available for you to start looking at and going through the material at a certain date. The modules, however, will stay unlocked. You'll always be able to get back into them, but these quizzes will lock back up at the due date. You can take as much time as you want to take these quizzes, and you can take them as many times as you want, and we're only going to keep the highest score that you get. So it's not going to be an average of all the scores you get from taking the quiz. It'll just be the very highest. So now that we've got those things out of the way, let's go ahead and hit our Take the Quiz button. Now again, we've talked about these a little bit before. This is just a typical multiple choice question. There's just going to be one answer because there's just a round circle. If this was a question that had multiple choices but had multiple answers, these would be boxes instead of circles. And again, you've got some of these with drop downs where you've got to pick one, the selection in the drop down box. And again, multiple choice. Sometimes you have to order these drop down boxes. You've got to put these answers in order that they're supposed to be. And again, sometimes you have the true-false questions, which we're all pretty familiar with. If you ever have any questions about any of these quizzes, feel free to go ahead and ask one of your instructors or send an email to instructor. These quizzes should be your own work. These aren't to do in groups. You should be doing it by yourself. You can, however, use all the materials you have in this course to answer these questions, but make sure you answer them yourself. Now we're finally almost through our last module. We've talked about how to navigate through Canvas. We've talked about all the different navigation on the left-hand side. We've also talked about the navigation on the bottom of almost every page. To get to all the different things we need, remember you always have this FAQ page, the frequently asked questions. If you have questions about how to do something or how to get to a part of Canvas, we'll have all those videos and all that stuff at the FAQ page. If you want to get to the page where all the syllabus and all the student workbooks are at, you can go to the course documents, and you have the modules and the announcements list. You'll get really familiar with the module list. The announcements, it's still good every time you log into Canvas to make sure you check your announcements, to make sure there's not something going on, make sure a due date hasn't changed or a lab date hasn't changed as well. We've talked about how to go through all these different videos. We've talked about what to expect, what we expect out of every student. We've talked about how to put the videos together with the student workbooks, how to check your answers from the student workbook, and how to just really take notes, make sure when you're watching videos, make sure when you're reading the book, answering the questions, that you're really paying attention to what you're doing and not just doing something to have it done. We've talked about the quizzes. Remember, those due dates aren't going to be very flexible at all, and those quizzes will get locked if you go beyond your due date. And remember, if you have any questions at all, there's always a team of instructors ready to answer questions for you. As long as it's not a specific quiz question, feel free to ask the other people in your class or the people you work with. Everybody understands things differently and at a different rate. Some people understand things better than other people do, and it's really good sometimes to hear somebody else explain it that's kind of in the same place you are, rather than just getting it from a video from somebody who already knows all the content. Sometimes it's good to find that person that just understood it themselves, so they can then translate it to you the way they understand it, and sometimes it just clicks. So for now, go ahead, maybe review through your notes that you've hopefully taken so far, and maybe go through some of these videos. You can find them on the FAQ page, and go ahead and take your quiz for your very first module.